Okay, we're on now.
It's my addiction up. Yeah. Let me tell you about the pain that I'm broken on. Let me tell you about the flesh wounds and broken bone. Let me tell you about the absence of a rolling stone. I'm a daddy wanna lead. Let that nigga go. Shout out at the block, cause them the chicks that we've been living on. Fuck the IRS, they have a ticket that they give me, so I'm sipping slow. All the road I quit, it's hard to kick it though. At least I don't promote it on the ground, it's my addiction on. And I'm the pain that I've been going through. Who are you to judge?
All right. So this is the Negus is Tired podcast, BLM Sacramento podcast. We haven't been on here for a while, but so we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. We got some folks on here that have not been on here before. My name is Tanya Faison, Black Lives Matter Sacramento. I'll go ahead and go to Bishoy next.
What's up, y'all? Bishoy, BLM Sac.
Go ahead, Sylvia.
Hey everybody, I'm Sylvia. I'm new to BLM SAC.
And Nicole.
Nicole Norwood, Black Lives Sacramento.
All right, thank you. Before we start, we just want to give a really huge, we want to lift Victor Brazelton's name. The last time that we had a podcast, he was with us. He passed away. We have not had a podcast since then. We miss him dearly. It feels really weird even doing this without him because he's part of this. This is like, it's just not going to be the same without him, but we do have some really great people here, so it will still be great. But we just wanted to make sure that we lifted his name really quick. If you ever want to watch Victor on any of the podcasts that he's been on, and his contributions to them, you can go to blacklivesmattersacramento.com and click on the podcast tab, and he's all over that thing. So I just wanted to shout him out real quick. We got a lot of things to talk about today. We're gonna start with, I'm gonna start with Darell Richards. Darell Richards was a 19-year-old boy that lived in Sacramento, and he was killed by SacPD on, I want to say September 8th or 6th, but he was killed by SacPD. He was having a mental health crisis. He was hiding, and he was killed in Curtis Park, hiding underneath somebody's patio. SacPD had created 3 policies ever since Stephon Clark's death that they violated, all 3 of them, when they killed Darell Richards: the no foot pursuit policy, the less lethal forms of force policy, and the body camera policy, where they're not supposed to mess with the body cams, mute them, turn them off, things like that. And when Darell Richards was killed, one of the cameras went off that would have shown us that he actually had a gun when they said he had a gun, but we don't know that he had a gun because he didn't own a gun. The foot pursuit policy, they chased him to where he was at. They chased him from Broadway to Curtis Park. And then the less lethal forms of force, they did not try anything to get him out or de-escalate the situation. They just went straight to SWAT, and they sent SWAT in to kill him, and they murdered him. So we wanted to talk about him for a bit. They're at the part of his case right now. His attorney announced, and we posted it on Facebook. They're at the part of the case right now where motions are filed. And right now, the city of Sacramento is trying to file a motion to dismiss this case. And it's really disgusting. But yeah, that post is on there. You can see the words of the attorney. Hold on, sorry. You can see the words of the attorney. Why is it? Hold on. Sorry. I'm trying to see comments. Okay. So, yeah, I wanted to lift his name and make everybody familiar with his story. He was killed in 2018. He didn't get a lot of attention because Stephon Clark, the whole world was watching what was happening with Stephon Clark. And so Darell Richards didn't get a lot of attention, but he definitely, his name deserves to be lifted. So I just wanted to make folks familiar with his name and give you an update on what's happening and what the city of Sacramento is doing. But we're gonna talk next about, And we want everybody to stay and listen to this, because what you think we might say, it might not be what we're actually going to say. We're going to talk about Roe v. Wade. There's been a lot of different experiences that we've had in regards to Roe v. Wade. So the Supreme Court decided to get rid of Roe v. Wade, and that was giving the women the power of choice with their pregnancies and their body. It's a very monumental situation. Right now, the fact that it's been reversed is because we have a majority conservative Supreme Court, and that's partially due to the fact that we had an ultra conservative president who assigned somebody to the court to be a judge that was conservative as well. Although the vote numbers kind of show that didn't really make a difference, because I think it was like 6-3 that voted for it. So, but yeah, it reversed, it kind of set us back. I mean, it set us back like 50 years, how many years? I don't know how the total details, but it set us back a lot of years. So I want to talk about that a little bit, because we've all had different experiences from the people that are advocating to not, they're angry about what's happened, white women, basically. We've had a lot of experiences with white women, just like the kind of the same experiences we have when election season comes. You know, I'll let people talk about it, and then I'll give my 2 cents later. But yeah, we want to talk about that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to, I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm not going to ask Bashoy to talk first on this issue that has to do with women. I'm going to go to Sylvia first. What has been your experience, and what have you felt like? And just tell us everything, how you feel about Roe v. Wade and the reaction to it.
It pisses me off that the government is telling women what they can do with their bodies. In the past couple weeks or so, I've been kind of chilling off social media, because watching everybody's outrage about this has been a little off-putting for me. But I'll admit, though, when this decision initially came out, I was pissed and I was enraged. Again, because I don't think the government should be telling us what we can do with our bodies. But I talked to a lot of my Black girlfriends about it, and they had a different response than me. And I was like, well, wait a minute, where's the disconnect here? What am I missing? And basically, now that I have a bit more perspective, I understand that this is not really something that I can pour my efforts into, because I can't save the world. I have to pick my cause, and my cause is Black shit, basically. So that's what I have to prioritize. But yeah, I was pissed at first. But I don't know. It's not something that's going to make me get up and go protest in the street like I did when George Floyd was murdered. And just really seeing how white women in particular are so upset about this, and also calling on us to join with them. It's kind of upsetting a little bit, because historically that has not been the case. Yeah, they came out when George Floyd was murdered, but before that we were kind of on our own. So I don't know. I have a whole bunch of mixed feelings about it, but in general, I'm not really moved to get out there and protest in the street, but I am pissed about it.
Yeah, I hear that. Do you want to say anything, Nicole?
To me, it's not that I don't care, but just like all the rest of the laws that were made, it wasn't made for me, because before they reversed it last week, they still don't treat the Black women that have children and go to the hospital and need care the same anyway. I mean, we die having birth. They don't do anything extra. Me personally, I've been told at 5 months, if I went to the emergency room, don't come back here because we can't do nothing for you. So it's not that I don't care, and I think it's a woman's right to choose, but it was never a thought in my mind going out to protest about it. Cause like I said, for being a Black woman and how they feel about it anyway.
Okay. Yeah, me personally, I've been super irritated. Like you said, Sylvia, it is a very important issue. Like, a bunch of old white people should not be determining what women, especially old white men, should not be determining what a woman should do with her body. So I agree with that. I'm not as activated as white women are right now, but I'm also a little bit offended at how activated white women are right now because, like you said, they haven't. And while some of them did come out for George Floyd, all the women that are activated right now did not come out for George Floyd. Like, a lot of them weren't even hitting the streets at all, or they don't think that our fight is their fight when they're the reason that we're fighting. Like, they're the ones that started it. They're the ones that have to end it. And so they're definitely part of this fight. So I've had to kind of like slow down on social media as well, just because it's had me furious. That and the 4th of July had me furious this past week. I'm just glad the 4th of July is over. But yeah, the way that white women have been like even demanding that Black women join them and using Black experiences to manipulate us, it's offensive. And then even equating, there's people that have good intentions that are allies, but they've literally said, well, now we know what Black people feel like, or now we know what minorities feel like. And it's like, first of all, don't call us minorities, but you don't know how we feel. Because like Nicole said, we've been fighting for equity and good healthcare and being treated fairly and with care when we're in hospitals and when we're having babies. And there's so many stories of Black women that have died giving birth, or have died, or their babies have died because they didn't get adequate health care. And nobody is cared about that. Women have not filled the streets for that. Like, that's been happening. And so it's not like they don't know. There was a meme that I shared with you guys earlier. Now I gotta try to find it again. I'm gonna read it real quick if I find it quick enough. But basically it's talking about how all these white women are talking about the Handmaid's Tale, which it does, you know, it does reek of Handmaid's Tale. But we have actual, I'm not gonna find it in time, I'm already past it, I think, but we have actual stories that happened in real life. They're not a TV show, they're not a series, they're not this thing that we're all in fear of happening. It's not a nightmare like that hasn't happened yet. There's actually, oh my goodness, I'm looking at comments, sorry. There's actually women that have endured a lot of abuse by the government and not had choices with their body, and have been literally silenced, not just metaphorically silenced, but physically had their mouths covered up. And that's been happening in history. So if you want to refer to, like, you know, what's happened, then we don't need to go to a fake story to tell it. We can go to Black and brown women in America and get that story. So it just kind of shows how out of touch with Black women, I'm gonna mute this in a minute, but how out of touch with Black and brown folks, white folks are in this situation, while they demand things of us. Bishoy, you want to say anything about it?
I mean, yeah, I think y'all pretty much covered every single piece. I think the biggest reaction, as y'all were just talking about, is the reaction to people's responses. And I think, I think you know, Tanya, you were bringing up that this notion that it set us back 50 years or X amount of years, and I think it's one of those things where it set white women back a certain number of years, right? Where I think this is an experience that is already an experience for Black folks, and especially Black bodies who are capable of giving birth. And so, I think just you see the fruits of the labor in just the movement, in, and I want to call it the protests, whatever we want to call, I think a large amount across the country of white bodies and non-white bodies as well, but white bodies going out into the streets. I think it's, I think it's funny, right? I think the history of protesting, the history of making movements and being part of movements is so new to white folks. So when we see it, they don't know what to do with it. It's like kid with a new toy. They don't know what to do with it. And it looks rough. It looks so rough around the edges. It looks so, and I think we see this in this kind of conversation where it's so cisgendered, so just heteronormative, just centered around this conversation of what this means for just women. And really it just means, what does this mean for white women? It's the first time in so long white women, like you said, they're, oh, now I know how it feels to be a minority. Now I know how it feels to experience something uncomfortable. And I think just like y'all said, it's like, well, we fight in fights on a daily basis that are much more complex than this, because this is just I think a complex continuity of life for the Black experience in America, especially for Black bodies who give birth. And so, I think, yeah, y'all hit on the head. And I think it is, I don't know, I find that's been the biggest thing for me, is it's been hard to watch white folks attempt to make a movement, and attempt to be in protest, because I think it's falling short of what it actually means to be part of a movement, to create movement, and to what it actually means to protest. And so that's definitely, I think, been a big struggle for me, and just watching, I think, reactions and just how folks are moving.
Thank you for bringing that back to Black bodies, like all people that can give birth. And that's another thing that I've seen too, is I've seen a lot of transphobia come out of this. I've seen a lot of women being upset that we're even acknowledging folks that are trans in this space that can give birth to people. And it's like, they're getting defensive for their womanhood. Like, you can't be a woman. And it's like, okay, this is not the time for that, number one. But number two, like, you need to, like, if you're saying that you know what it feels like to be Black now, or knows how it feels to be oppressed, then you don't oppress somebody else. So thank you for bringing that up, because we have been saying women, but it is Black people, period. So, all right. Anybody else want to add to this before I go to the next subject? Okay, I take that as a no. Really quick, I'm going to announce this now, but I'm going to bring it up at the end too. We have a form online for Black folks that live in Sacramento. If you want free food from our garden, please fill it out. We're at this stage right now where we're growing food. It's not enough to feed hundreds of people, but it is enough to feed at least 30 to 40 people. And so we want to be able to reach out to folks that want this. And so in order for us to do that, we need to hear from you that you want it. That way we can let you know whenever food is available. Whenever we harvest food, we can let you know that it is available and you can come get it. So I'm going to put that out there now. I'll bring it up before we get off here. So Jayland Walker, he was a 25-year-old young man who worked for DoorDash. He delivered food. Okay, I'm looking at comments. I'm monitoring the comments while I'm talking, so I apologize if I get distracted a little bit. But yeah, to the person that just said you're a white woman and tell you what to do, please listen and you'll figure it out, or you can go to the Allies page and ask them to give you some guidance. But yeah, Jayland Walker, he's from Akron, Ohio. He's 25. He was shot by the police in Akron, Ohio. They shot at him. 8 police officers shot at him 60 times. They mutilated his body with bullets, and they killed him over a traffic stop. They said all these things, but when the video, I don't know if the video came out yet or if they're talking about putting it out. I know that people have been like, hey, don't watch it if you can't handle it. And I probably won't watch it, because 60 times is a lot of times to shoot at somebody, especially when you're already on the ground dying. So I don't know if I can handle that. But I know that they started off by saying that he was armed, and then they're saying that he wasn't. And then I've heard that he wasn't. And I've heard that he may have been, but it did not get shot, or I don't know the details around it yet. But all I know is no matter what, 60 times is too many times to shoot at somebody. 8 whole police officers. I'm going to go to Bishoy first to talk about this. Go ahead, Bishoy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think what it was they found 60 actual bullet wounds. So they shot more than 60. It hit at least. So I think the number was at least 90 times, but it hit him 60 times. And they're still, they said 60 to 80 because the, you know, how bullet wounds go in and out. So, you know, it just, again, a public assassination. You know, I mean, that's this. What else do we say? You know, it's we started talking with Darell Richards, and now we're bringing another Black body into the space that publicly assassinated, and that will publicly be slain by, you know, I mean, just his entire image just ruined by media, by the police force in Akron. I mean, just continues to, oh, he had a gun. They found a gun in his car, and it's gonna, oh, this was his history, and I think it's so tough. Every single one feels like a fresh new one, feels like the first time, every single time. And just, I think consistently hearing this, it feels tough. And this is one that feels like is getting and attempting to get really pushed under the rug quickly. You know, a lot of things are going on right now. And so this one seems to be really trying to get pushed under the rug. They'd even talk about the number of police officers that were put on leave. I mean, immediately they were like, I think I remember reading this article that said an unidentified large number of police officers have been put on administrative leave concerning this shooting. So, you know, I just think, again, it's another attempt to just continue to hide these things when it's so in our face. You know, you watch that video 90 times, shooting somebody 90 times. There's not, you know, it's hard to say anything more than that, for me at least.
They don't want to release that video. They don't want to release that video. They know, I mean, I know they don't want to. Go ahead, Nicole, do you want to say anything?
I mean, 8 people for one person, and to have to shoot that many times, I mean, but that's what they're doing, and it's shameful. And to believe it or not, they're probably going to get away with it. I mean, of course they lost the video.
Right. Well, I think they're going to release it, but why do they wait to release videos? Like, I already know, like SacPD, they put all these little different, you know, explanations throughout the videos. They edit them and stuff, but it's like.
But aren't they supposed to have 30 days?
That's in Sacramento, but I don't know.
I don't know what I heard 10 days somewhere.
Yeah,
So
every city is different.
Sorry, no, I was just gonna say, I actually, they did release it, I think just 2 days ago.
Okay.
The video is out. It's like, you know, again, those like edited videos, starts with the press conference. You've got to go like 25 minutes into the video to really begin it. But yeah, it's out.
Okay. I did see a lot of people talking about it was going to be released today. And we did some posts letting people know that they don't have to watch it. We all know what happened. But if you want to, you can, just so you could be in the know. For me, I try to narrow them down to the ones in my city that I have to watch. Otherwise, I don't want to watch it. Did you want to say anything, Sylvia?
yeah, I agree with Bashoy. It feels like the first time every time you see it. I can't watch the video. And there's just absolutely no justification for shooting somebody that many times, that number of people. Like, I don't understand. And we know that they cannot shoot people because there's been whole mass shooters who have shot up hella people who come away alive and get like brought fast food. So like, we know y'all can do it. So why are you targeting us? I don't understand it. And like this whole Roe v. Wade stuff, like you want women to have these babies, but you bring them into a world where they're hunted down, the Black ones at least, they're hunted down like animals on the street. So like, fix it. Like, if you want women to keep having these babies, then you need to create a world where it's safe for people to live. Like, and this is just ridiculous. This makes me want to cry. The Roe v. Wade stuff, I don't have that feeling in my gut that I do when I find out that another Black body has been slain in the street by police.
That's real. Thank you for that comparison. I know people call these things public lynchings, like, because that's what's happening. But honestly, 60 shots in your body, like, if I had to choose which one I'd want, not like I want to choose that, but this is worse than lynching. This is worse than lynching. They've upgraded from lynching to blowing our bodies up. Yeah, it's just so sad. And then you see moms, and some of them are younger mothers, like they're having to experience. I know Stevante Clark always says, like, it's a club that nobody wants to be a member of. You know, the families of people that have been lost to police violence that don't get any justice. We've never gotten justice. Even when we get it, it ain't it. Like, that's not it. Because it still happens. When it stops happening, that's justice. Like, when we finally see repercussions automatically put into policy and law, then that's justice. And when we see it carried out, then that's justice. Because that's the only thing that's going to stop them. When they know they can get away with it, it's going to keep happening.
I just have one more thing.
Yeah.
Like, people will, on the internet, will look at this and say, well, what did he do? And to those people, I say, like, how can you even ask that question here? You shoot one man, you shot him at least 60 times, 60 bullets in him, probably shot him more than that. Like, there's nothing that a person can do that justifies this. Absolutely nothing.
And he was running away from them. So he wasn't even a threat. That's some egotistical shit. Like, that's some bullet, what do they call it? Shooting practice shit, like target practice. Because you're trying to catch somebody with a bullet because they're running away from you. You don't like the fact that they're running away from you. That's just trash. How we usually do it, and you mentioned brushing it under the rug, Bishoy. I see that happen because I see the country turning up over this, like they did with George Floyd, like the potential for that. I see the potential for that. And because of that, I think they see the potential for that as well. And that's why they're trying so hard to brush it under, because they don't want the whole country doing what we did when George Floyd got killed. But just so you know, how we work is we wait for the people. And when the people say they want to hit the streets, we hit the streets. So that's how it worked with George Floyd. When it's somebody here, like, we hit the streets immediately anyway. But when it, like with George Floyd, we started getting hundreds of emails every day. When are we protesting? When are we protesting? So that's when we hit the streets. And I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully the city will pull up for Jayland, because this is disgusting.
I think that reminds me of usually at the end of all these articles or at the end of all these press conferences, the worst part is that the attorneys, and it, you know, I think also painful part is a lot of times the families will come up to the stand, you know, just to the mics and just be like, the very last thing, they have to just just go through the entire scenario of their family member just being murdered, have to discuss it publicly. And then at the very end, usually at the advice of attorneys,
right,
are like, we urge our community and communities around the country to remain peaceful for the sake of X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And it's just crazy. Like, that's always like the man, you know, like, is that's just another way it gets sweat. Like, you know, we urge everybody else who cares about this young Black body to remain silent, peaceful, you know, while everything is happening. And that part, I think it's so frustrating of like, why? You know, and I get it when moms say, you know, I think, Tanya, you've worked especially really close with the moms in Sacramento, like, those feelings come up, and the you know, demand and the call to maybe ask folks to, hey, remain peaceful, or hey, don't, you know, and I understand that piece. But I think as folks on the ground, it's at least for me, I get so frustrated just hearing that as like the very last thing of this press conference is nobody don't do nothing, right? I get so just hurt, devastated, and upset by that as well.
I think it's a mixture of things. Honestly, I think they're being told to say it first off. And I think that it reminds me of slavery. Like, it reminds me of religion. Like, it reminds me of tactics that have been used to keep people at bay, so that we don't get uncontrollable. And they're afraid of us being uncontrollable. And I think that that should be a call for us to be uncontrollable. When they say that, that just shows their fear, and we need to turn the fuck up. I'm gonna put this on the record now. If they ever take me, I want this city to burn. I'm just letting y'all know now. I want shit to be turned up if they ever take me. There will be no peace. I promise you. Like, that's what I don't want. Yeah. But I think, and then also you've got families that are just so sad and they feel weak inside and they don't want to deal with the bullshit. So they're just like, can we just do this? And that's why they probably agreed to saying it, is because they just don't want to deal with whatever. But I know for a fact that there are mothers that are just like, no, I want to raise hell. And it's usually a process. Like, they have to get to that stage where they're like, we need to raise hell. So anybody else want to contribute to that part of the conversation? We're moving to the last topic. So there's an organization called Our Streets Coalition. Their mission is, and their focus is on intra-community violence, and how to stop that. And it's all under the same umbrella as white supremacy. You've got poverty, you've got lack of access to resources, all types of resources, whether they're material or whether they're clout or things that you can build for yourself and invest in yourself. And so that organization fights for those things, and they've been working with us. They started this work and we've jumped on board. But there's what's called a gang database, and it's in every city. And from what I've read recently, is they're all kind of connected in the same state. In California, the gang database is everybody's access. Every city's police department has access to a gang database for whatever city it is in California. So it's a statewide thing. I know in the past, they've found babies on the gang database. They found all kinds of people thrown on. There was a 2-year-old on the gang database, because there is no criteria that has to be met in order to be added to it. So police officers can just look at you, stereotype you, racially profile you. You might have on red, or you might have on blue, you might have locks, and so therefore you must be a gang member. We fought for, I don't know if y'all know who Shona McDaniels is. She's in community, she does murals and she does a lot of art, and she runs the African marketplace at the Sojourner Truth Museum. Her son, in 1 week, he was pulled over once by the sheriff department, put into the gang database, and he's not a gang member. And then a couple of days later, he was pulled over by SacPD. And so this is a common thing. So once you get in the gang database, they pull you over for no reason. I know a lot of people get pulled over at least once a week. They go live now, but they're always getting their cars searched. If they know you've been locked up, then they know that they can search your car without a warrant, or without even probable cause. And so this has been an abuse that's been going on. And there's people that are like in their 50s that used to be gang members that are now grandfathers and living their lives, and they're still being harassed on a regular basis. And police are still telling them, we know who you are, we know what you've done in the past. And they say stuff like that to them as a reason to validate what they're doing. And so because of that, Our Streets Coalition, they submitted a public records request to SacPD and the Sac Sheriff Department to find out 4 things. I'm not going to give a number. It might have been more than 4 things. But one of the things that we wanted to know is the demographics of the people on the gang database. We wanted to know the different gangs that were in Sacramento that they have documented. Asked for the criteria that needs to be met in order to put someone on the gang database. And we asked for, what else did we ask for? I'm not remembering everything. When we got our response, we submitted it the first time. Our Streets Coalition submitted it the first time, and they got a response. And then they got a response from SacPD. Sac Sheriff has not responded at all, just a heads up. And by law, they have to, they're supposed to. SB 1421 made that something that they have to do. So Sac Sheriff didn't respond. SacPD responded, and they have it set up to where you have to log into their system, and then they provide you the documents within their system. So it's not like you're getting a document sent to you, it's still in their system, so they have control over it. And the first time that we got a response, they gave us the response, but then they withdrew it. So when you log back into the account, there was no response. There was no record of a records request. There was no record of anything. It just, everything disappeared. We tried doing searches with the request number because you're assigned a number. That didn't pull up anything. It's like they wiped it off the system. So we had to submit another one, and this time BLM SAC did it. I did it. We submitted the request, and all we got in response to the request was the demographics. And in the demographics, there was only 3 categories of ethnicities. There was African-American, South Pacific Islander, and then another category was everything else. So it was white, what they put as Hispanic, and Asian, and all the other races were all in its own category. And when you look at Black versus everybody else, it was even. So it was like 50-50 as far as demographics. But there's Mexican folks in there too. And so we know Mexican folks are also racially profiled by the police as being in gangs and on the gang database. But they don't want us to see these numbers because they don't want us to see the number of white folks that are in the gang database, which probably is none. And we didn't get, the whole reason we asked for the criteria is because we know they don't have it. We know that they just throw you in it, whether you're in a gang or not, just based on racial profiling. This whole law of the whole gang unit, the gang enforcement team, the gang database, all of that is a vessel to racially profile people, because you've got Proud Boys, they're not in the gang database, they're a gang. You got all kinds of white militias in California, and they're not on the gang database. It's all Black, brown, Asian folks. So we wanted the criteria. We know that they don't have it. We're still waiting for responses. We've been working with the ACLU. When we only got that as a response, I went to the police station myself. I was given a number to call. I called the number. That number has a recording where you leave a voicemail, but it also has another number to call. I called the other number. That other number somebody picked up and said, no, you need to call the last number. So I left voicemail messages several times on the first number that we got, and we have not gotten a call back. I sent an email almost 2 weeks ago to our new police chief, Lester. Is it Lester? I think it's Lester is her name. Kathy Lester. And we have not received, I called her office. They said I need to email this one person in particular in order to schedule an appointment. And I emailed that person, and I have not gotten a response yet. So our chief is not responding to us to meet with her. She's a new chief, which is really irresponsible, a little bit offensive. So we will be pressing for that in the future. Just keep your eyes peeled. We're gonna keep putting it out there. We'll probably be on Twitter tagging her. And if you can retweet our tweets, then that would be helpful, because we need to get a response. We need to get some kind of response, and we need some accountability. And our police department is always talking about how professional they are and how they're wanting to be more transparent and more accountable, but they need to walk the walk. And so we need a response. So I just wanted to put that out there. We haven't talked about this. This has been ongoing for a year now. The first request we submitted was in June of last year, and we've been waiting this long for a response. And that's just with SacPD. Sac Sheriff has not responded at all. So we're just putting that out there. Does anybody want to add to that? Nope. All right. Does anybody want to bring up anything that we didn't talk about? Are you going to say something to show your box is green? No?
No, but I did want, if to close off, I know we usually close off with the music again, but if we could close off maybe with this piece from Victor that I remember they had on the candles that they had for Victor. So if that's all right, maybe we leave some words, make sure Victor's still in the space, some words from Victor, if that's all right.
Yes, with his name. Yeah, before we do that, please fill out the form. If you're not Black, And even if you are Black, share it. Please share it. Please put a caption with it though. Let people know what it is so that they know what it is that you're posting. But yeah, we want to get as many people on that list as possible. Yeah, let's close out with Victor. You gonna play it, Deshoy?
I don't have. I've been looking for the actual video for him to say it, but I cannot find it.
Okay, hold on. Let me look for it real quick. We might not be able to close out with that if we can't find it, but we can open with it next time. We're gonna try to be on here more, talking and starting conversations. We got super busy and everything. Every time we started to do a podcast, something would happen, but we're gonna try to be more consistent with this. It is hard though too without Victor. It's really hard to be in this space without him. I mean, I know he's here, but to hear his voice, like, is that it? Oh, okay, that's the. I left it. I'm gonna put his picture up while I look for this. Where did you send that? Okay, it's a text. I'm sorry, we're quiet right now, you guys. Give me one moment. I'm not finding it, so we'll do it next time. I'm on his Facebook page and I'm having to scroll a lot, so I don't want to keep everybody waiting. But next time when we open it, we'll open with his music. He was very gifted. All right. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for everybody that's participated. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. All right. Good night, everybody.